next because we know what happened on Saturday night. The man looked phenomenal. He looked really good. He showed that he had the things that I'm sure a lot of his scousers don't get knocked out after all. Whatever you want. Yes, there's technical things that he could have done differently, and we'll get to that in just.
We're here to talk about improvement, but when the final bell echoed, it didn't sound like progress. It sounded like a funeral toll for Paddy Pimblett, a hollow chime ringing through the chaos of UFC 34 rumors swirling around Justin Gaethje. Each drop to the canvas felt heavier than the last, leaving him bruised, split open, his face leaking blood like evidence no one could ignore. It wasn't just a beating, it was a slow, merciless unraveling, a savage thrashing that exposed every flaw he tried to hide. Fans didn't fear the loss, they feared the residue, the damage that lingered after the lights dimmed, whispering that his championship dreams might collapse before they ever truly formed.
We'll get to that in just a second, and we're going to talk about what he needs to do to tighten things up. What we saw was a man that didn't want to give up, a man that could take a beating, hammer and a nail. It's all well and good when you're submitting King Green. It's all well and good when you're beating the shit out of Michael Chan. Your corner and you're black and blue and you. What? That the man is not the type of guy to give up on himself. He's got the heart. He's got
the tenacity, the resolve, the stubborn resilience in Paddy were all praised. His ability to absorb punishment framed like a badge of honor. A man who could endure whatever was thrown at him. Yet his own words cut deeper, admitting his singular aim was to be world champion, not simply a body built to survive damage and nod along to that narrative. Admirable on the surface, yes, but the contrast was jarring, because what he promised and what he showed didn't align. That gap between ambition and execution hung heavy, exposing a harsh truth, setting an unforgiving tone for whatever came next in my mind, anyway, as doubts quietly gathered.
Wow. You proved how tough you are, and he was like, listen, I know how tough I am.
Tough I am anyway. I don't need to prove it to anyone. I wanted to highlight.
That really got my respect, because that's what a fight is meant to be. Guys, we're all tough, okay? We can all take a shot, well, most.
Truth, right, the kind that makes you pause mid-thought, because if you're really honest with yourself, that's where the uncomfortable questions begin to surface.
Need to be tough, right? So I like
event, but certain details refused to be ignored, because one glaring weakness kept flashing like a warning light. Paddy boxed with his chin dangerously high, his hands habitually drifting low, inviting chaos with every exchange. Some loyal supporters brushed it off as style, calling it flair, calling it confidence. A trained eye, though, saw something far darker, a fundamental error waiting to be punished. This wasn't swagger or theatrics. It was neglecting defense against the most lethal weapon in the sport. That kind of oversight isn't subtle, it's an open invitation, a reckless burden he carried into the fire, and one he paid for brutally.
To be tough, right? So I liked that about Paddy. However, he came out with his chin up and his hands low.
And I see it clearly, not as a casual observer brushing past the details, but as someone watching the warning signs stack up in plain sight, because once you notice it, you can't unsee it, and the pattern becomes impossible to ignore.
That's what some people said. That's the way he fights, that's his style, and he gets away with it. And all the few little minor tweaks like tucking the chin, lifting the hands a little bit, using more feints and being more like a boxer, mixing up the arts of Thai boxing, kickboxing, wrestling, jiu-jitsu, but doing it as a boxer, moving and grooving.
Shaking, the cost of that reckless method surfaced in every brutal exchange, each moment revealing damage that never needed to happen. Paddy absorbed shot after shot, punishment that sharper skill and tighter discipline would have erased before it landed. Yes, the toughness was undeniable, the courage to stand and endure spoke volumes, but combat was never meant to be a test of how much pain one man can take. The real objective is to strike clean while slipping danger, to dominate without sacrificing longevity. Persistently fighting with those defensive cracks doesn't just bleed away rounds on the scorecards, it quietly stacks unnecessary damage, harm that compounds, harm that shortens nights and careers, harm that can permanently alter a promising path if it remains uncorrected. It can't continue like that.
They don't know what they're talking about. Did this for 20 odd years, guys. I know a little bit about it. Another thing that he has to do, they got to bring in some wrestlers, man. Right? The entire team at Next Gen, and this is not me talking crap about Next Generation. They're a tremendous team and they are producing a lot of great athletes. But I spoke to Luke Riley and Shem Rock and they said they don't really do wrestling practices. Again, I am not talking shit. I swear to you, it's just a suggestion. They do MMA, jiu-jitsu, grappling, okay? What we saw with Paddy and Justin, was every time they clinched up against the fence, they would lean up against the fence, and then Paddy would
But at its core, Paddy must drop the chin, bring the hands home, and lace his offense with movement and deception, because these aren't cosmetic tweaks, they are survival laws. These principles win fights, not bravado. Right now, inefficiency bleeds through his form, weakening every exchange. Real finishes come from balance and control, from striking without exposure. That sharp divide is what separates reckless brawling from the calculated danger of a true mixed martial artist.
MMA, jiu-jitsu, grappling, okay? What we saw with Paddy and Justin was every time they clinched up against the fence, they would lean up against the fence, and then Paddy would kind of relax and he would kind of rest. And that's the jiu-jitsu in him, because jiu-jitsu quite literally means the gentle art. You use your opponent's strength and power against them, okay? You use their momentum, okay? It's a highly technical sport. Wrestling also is a highly technical sport, but you ain't relying on them. You are forcing the situation, and it's 100% effort and snapping them down. We saw it every time Justin Gaethje would get him in the front headlock, snap him down to the ground, start pummeling him.
A crucial revelation from seasoned specialists cut through the noise, the realization that he could box cleanly even while standing in a Muay Thai guard, a subtle shift hiding massive consequences. It comes down to something deceptively simple, pivoting the lead foot straight forward instead of locking it at 45 degrees, a small adjustment that changes everything. Some argue it weakens kick defense, but that claim collapses under scrutiny, because in reality it adds layers, sharper angles, greater efficiency, and cleaner exits. Embracing this change isn't optional, it's essential, the difference between remaining a predictable, single-track target and becoming something far more dangerous. Done correctly, that adjustment can flip the script entirely, transforming looming disaster into a weaponized advantage, turning what once invited punishment into a platform for control, precision, and calculated violence.
Again, he will fight again, but who is he going to fight next? Well, when you look at it, Ilia Topuria, what the hell is going on? I know the man's going through, and I ain't talking crap, big fan of Ilia. He's going through a personal situation, he's getting divorced and custody battles and stuff like that, right? Okay? But the man's got to fight at some point. He fought in summer last year, okay? He's not injured. I saw he was in the gym recently. The rightful fight that needs to take place is Justin Gaethje versus Ilia Topuria, right? That fight needs to happen, hopefully at the White House. Outside of that, we got Arman Tsarukyan. But Paddy ain't going to fight Arman Tsarukyan. Even though they got beef and even though Arman would love to get his hands on him, I really wouldn't suggest that right now. That's not the fight.
Beyond the exchanges on the feet, another fracture revealed itself, a wrestling deficiency that kept resurfacing with alarming clarity. Whenever Paddy entered the clinch, he instinctively unraveled, leaning back on his jiu-jitsu comfort instead of asserting positional control. That momentary softness, that lapse in urgency, became a recurring invitation. Gaethje seized it without hesitation, snapping him down, steering him into front headlocks, dictating where the fight would live. In critical moments, when pressure should have spiked, Paddy paused, conserving instead of contesting, resting where resistance was required. That hesitation exposed something deeper than fatigue, a structural flaw in his grappling approach when facing higher-level opposition, a weakness that sharper wrestlers will continue to exploit unless it's forcefully addressed.
Look it down. Again, not talking shit before all you Paddy fans come at me, right?
Victory or defeat, Dan
is probably going to be Paddy Pimblett's next opponent. We saw that these two, they went crazy. Said that joke that I defended because it was a joke, but a lot of people didn't see it that way. A lot of people said that he shouldn't talk. I do get that. Me and Paddy spoke about this on the interview that we did last week. If you haven't seen it, it's on the channel. Check it out, right? There's a lot of beef between these two, and it would be a stylistically fun fight. And in the Paramount era, we want fun fights.
Beyond the surface, wrestling's brutal truth became unmistakable. Paddy's jiu-jitsu dazzled, flying triangles, opportunistic submissions, but it was reactive, defensive, waiting for openings instead of forcing them. Wrestling demanded aggression, initiative, the ability to dictate takedowns, yet he failed to control opponents on the mat or defend the clinch reliably. That hesitation, that gap in assertiveness, was glaring. Next-gen training, despite its triumphs, urgently required targeted wrestling sessions. Riley and Shamrock openly admitted their focus leaned toward MMA jiu-jitsu, neglecting wrestling, and that neglect threatened Paddy's championship trajectory, a ticking vulnerability top contenders would relentlessly exploit. Yet amid these technical flaws, his spirit remained unshakable, a warrior's soul burning through each vicious blow, refusing to yield across 5 grueling rounds. His mental toughness became a weapon, showing that while refinement was needed, his determination to prevail was unwavering. Post-fight, his interview cemented his standing, revealing self-awareness and a clear grasp of what it truly meant to be a champion. Durability was praised, but he affirmed his drive was intact, unbroken. Facing Justin Gaethje, a double interim title holder with lethal strikes and elite knowledge, and lasting all 5 rounds, validated Paddy's elite potential. His career wasn't over, merely at a pivotal crossroads, demanding careful strategy and smart matchmaking to climb the lightweight ranks. With top contenders tied up, Topuria battling Gi, Tazarukian too dangerous, Holloway and Oliveira contending for BMF, Dan Hooker emerged as the logical, high-stakes next rival, ranked just below Paddy, offering both stylistic intrigue and a chance to prove adjustments. Binarius Wallace loomed as an alternative, a ground-centric challenge. UFC 34 didn't ruin his career, it exposed gaps, offered a harsh public lesson, and left the path forward clear yet brutal. The question,